I'm KHOU11 meteorologist Kim Castro. A brand new update from the National Hurricane Center. We have Tropical Storm Francine. Here are the current stats. Still holding at 50-mile-an-hour winds. Pressure has dropped ever so slightly and is moving at a north-northwest jog 5 miles an hour. Here's the convective field. It's pretty expansive. So even though the track has shifted further east, we could still see some wraparound rain impacting Houston, but overall, this is a good scenario for Texans. Right now, the National Hurricane Center has Tropical Storm Francine gaining some momentum by this evening, then becoming a Category 1 hurricane by tomorrow evening. It's expected to maintain that strength as it makes a landfall somewhere near Lake Charles. This could encompass Lafayette as well. And notice the cone of uncertainty stretches as far east as New Orleans. Now this could shift, which is why you're going to want to watch the forecast throughout the day as we get more updates once Francine starts to pick up more intensity. Notice the time frame to watch is going to be late Tuesday night into early Wednesday. For Houstonians, wraparound rain I think is going to be the biggest issue on Tuesday. Scattered storms throughout the day. We could see some lingering moisture into Wednesday morning. For the coast, we're going to see elevated tides, a storm surge threat, coastal erosion, coastal flooding is a possibility. Don't let your guard down. Just make sure you follow the forecast as we track Francine and see any new developments or any shifts in that forecast. Tropical storm watches for Brownsville and along coastal waters. This includes the coastal waters of our coastline, Chambers, Galveston, Brazoria, and Matagorda. Notice further east, the threat becomes a little bit more elevated. So hurricane watches, not just for the coast of Louisiana, but far inland communities are seeing the threat of those hurricane force wind speeds and tropical storm wind fields into New Orleans too. The highest likelihood again of seeing the wind damage is going to be where that storm center tracks. So right now, Lake Charles, Lafayette, New Orleans under the gun for that. But even our coastal counties have about a 50 to 60% chance to see some wind impacts. So that could mean we're not out of the woods when it comes to the potential of power outage threats or tropical storm force impacts. But all in all, we're on the clean side of this storm. Remember, the dirty side where we see the worst impacts is the right side. Check out these outer rain bands all throughout Tuesday, even into the evening hours. So that's a snapshot at 11:30 p.m. You'll notice the center now well defined and it'll race towards Louisiana. By Wednesday morning, maybe we see some residual rain bands filtering into southeast Texas, but a lot of the moisture, the energy, the wind field, all the threats right now shifted towards the east. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, looks like the eye moves inland and then it'll continue to race towards Kentucky by late Wednesday into Thursday. Thursday forecast, so this is the rain all throughout the week. You'll notice the totals have dropped down because now the National Hurricane Center has a little better understanding as to where Francine is tracking now that the tropical storm has developed. Rainfall totals for us will be most significant along the coastline. Widespread 1 to 2 inches. Isolated spots I think could see more than this. But the general bottom line is that inland impacts will be mitigated with Francine's track shifting further and further towards the east. No flood threat today. Notice tomorrow we're highlighted under a level 2 threat, slight risk for flooding. This includes a portion of Harris County, all of Chambers, Galveston, Brazoria, and Matagorda counties. This continues into Wednesday, but it shifts a little bit further east, which is reflecting what Francine will be doing. At this point, Polk County, Liberty County, still a portion of Harris, Chambers, Galveston, as well as Brazoria. So, Tropical Storm Francine has us under weather impact alert days Tuesday and Wednesday. The primary threat is going to be some heavy rain, some scattered storms, some downpours, and threats along the coastline. I need you to keep up with the forecast because this is a developing system. It's still very fluid, and we're going to see some shifts to the track, some shifts to the intensity. So keep up with us.
But first, we start with tracking the tropics. That system our weather team has been monitoring is now officially Tropical Storm Francine. We'll walk you through its projected path. Plus, we hear from Centerpoint.
We have 2,000 frontline workers and another 600 vegetation crews that are going to be working actively this week just on pre-storm activities.
Centerpoint says it is ready. Are you? We begin by taking a live look over Galveston Island. A lot of clouds over there. Good afternoon. I'm Sherman Chow with Kim Castro, and the good news is right now, it doesn't look like Houston will get a direct hit.
That's right. The forecast track has shifted towards the east. So let's get right to that cone from the National Hurricane Center. Tropical Storm Francine expected to maintain its tropical storm status throughout the day, then becoming a Category 1 hurricane by tomorrow. So by 7 o'clock, it's got 75-mile-an-hour wind speeds, maintaining Cat 1 strength as it makes a landfall on the Louisiana coast. Right now, looks like anywhere between Lake Charles to Lafayette, even as far east as New Orleans. Remember, this cone could shift, so it could continue to push closer to New Orleans or maybe scoot back. That's why I want you to keep up with the forecast as we continue to get more updates. Right now, Tropical Storm Francine still at 50 miles an hour. It's barely dropped in its pressure. It's gotten better organization. That's why it's a tropical storm, but it still has a long ways to go as far as its development, and it's got a lot of energy along with it. So because it has a big convective field, we're still going to see impacts from Francine, even though the track is towards the east. I'm going to stop the clock right there. So that's a snapshot at 11:30 tomorrow morning. Notice some coastal downpours, and that doesn't let up throughout the day. More rounds of heavy rain throughout the evening. Now you're looking at a snapshot at Tuesday, 9:30. So that's going to be something that is going to be delicate. Rounds of rain like that could have some issues for our coastal communities. But notice the big bullseye threat well off to our east at this point, looking like a landfall sometime between late Wednesday morning to the early afternoon time frame. Impacts here look like this. We're already under a coastal flood warning. This is until 1 o'clock on Wednesday. This area that's a little bit brighter is a coastal advisory, so lesser impacts expected for Matagorda, but the majority of the coastal erosion, the coastal flooding looks like it'll be for Chambers, Galveston, and Brazoria. That's going to be an impact we feel here. Scattered storms are going to be felt even as far north as Harris County. We could see them last through Wednesday morning. We'll have more updates for you throughout the day. Plenty more still to talk about when it comes to Francine. I'll have a full look at that forecast, guys, in just a couple minutes.
All right, thank you. And this afternoon, city and state leaders are in preparation mode, as are thousands of Centerpoint energy workers. Devon Raming live with a look at those preparations. Devon.
Well, Sherman, from the city to the coast, officials say crews have been out since this weekend trying to get ahead of what this storm could potentially bring. Starting today along the coast, leaders with the Galveston Island Beach Patrol say they'll be out removing equipment from the beach as part of their safety preps. And across the city of Houston and the metro area, Centerpoint officials speaking on KHOU11 Morning News this morning say they're pre-staging 2,000 frontline workers and another 600 vegetation workers as part of pre-storm maintenance in the event of widespread power outages.
In the event we have an event, a large outage event that we need to respond to, we have secured an additional 5,000 crews and an additional 7,000 vegetation management workers that will be ready to respond if needed.
Now, Houston Mayor John Whitmire released the following statement saying, in part, our readiness efforts include pre-positioning generators, deploying high water rescue vehicles, and ensuring increased staffing levels across essential departments. Now, Centerpoint is urging its customers to keep an eye on its outage tracker for any outage updates. That's where you'll be able to find when power will be restored if you happen to be one of those who loses power over the next few days. Live in Houston, Devon Raming, KHOU 11 News.
All right, thank you, Devon. As always, be sure to download our free KHOU 11 mobile app. Now is a good time so you can follow the forecast.